Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. I want to talk about some of the idiots that talk about Lamar Jackson and why they don't want to go play for Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. And if anybody who watches football, who knows football, would know that Lamar Jackson is not the problem, and they would know that it's Greg Roman. And for years now, the the Greg Roman has set Lamar Jackson back when it comes to he really doesn't allow Lamar Jackson to open up his game when it comes to the passing game. And it's very simple to see, very simple to if you watch the Ravens and not just rely on analytics like these analytics guys like, oh, I look pro. If anybody quotes pro football focus, they're an idiot. All right. When you watch the game, you don't rely on Pro Football Focus to help understand the game. You can see it, you can watch it, you can understand it, right? So data only goes so far when it comes to just looking at watching football and knowing certain things. So I say that because Lamar Jackson in this offense, it's not predicated. It doesn't rely on him throwing the ball to receivers. And most of the routes for receivers are designed to open up things underneath for tight ends, running backs, fullbacks, etc. Or if it's they're doing some type of quick route, underneath on third down, that there may be an option for a receiver depending on the coverage. But the offense doesn't rely on receivers to catch the ball downfield. The very first thing, if you notice and if you watch the Ravens, they very rarely have three receivers on the field. Most of the time on the field, they have two tight ends. That's kind of like, if you know football, you know that's 12 personnel. Sometimes they have 11. I almost never see them in 10, right? So 11, 10, 12 personnel depends on how many tight ends are on the field. But I've seen them in 13. I've seen them actually with no receivers on the field as well, too. So the Ravens offense is designed for tight end packages where there's less receivers. So think about that. Is it Lamar Jackson's fault that the offense doesn't have receivers on the field? And they say, well, he doesn't throw the receivers because they're not on the field. And if you watch the Ravens, you would simply know that the receivers are not on the field. That's basic football 101. But people want to go to Pro Football Focus to say, oh, he doesn't throw the receivers. That's stupid. Steve Smith, an NFL receiver, said, look, this is how you have to really check and not just listen to these podcasts that people put out. Steve Smith literally went on Shane Sharp's podcast and said, "Oh, Lamar Jackson doesn't throw. If I'm a receiver, I'm not going to play for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson doesn't throw receivers." No, how can you throw receivers if most of the time they're not on the field? So you have to look at the offensive coordinator. We want to put just as much as we build people up. We want to put the blame on certain people if you know the ins and outs and know the game. Steve Smith, who knows the game of football, literally said that Lamar Jackson doesn't throw the receivers. It's the offense that's putting a cap on his abilities. Let's take a look here. If you see here, on the whole Ravens drive, like this last game, the whole Ravens drive, where are they in? Right? What side are they in right now? What side are they in right now? Right? If you see right here, they're in third. They have how many receivers they have on the field? 2. How many receivers do they have on the field? 2. How many receivers do they have on the field? 1. How many receivers do they have on the field? So as we walk through these different sets and we see that they do not put receivers on the field. What they're actually doing is putting more tight ends on the field. It's a personnel package. So how can Lamar Jackson throw to receivers if they're not on the field? Now this is Greg Roman's doing when he took over as offensive coordinator. They say he read a bunch of books. He's a former tight ends coach. So the offense is predicated around having tight ends being the main focus. That's why Mark Andrews does so well. And for Lamar Jackson, he's a guy that he doesn't need to be subjected to the RPO the RPO or read option or zone read option. He doesn't need to be limited to that. Allow him to sit back and pass the ball and create what he needs to create. And this is why I hate when people do this with offensive coordinators do this with black quarterbacks. What they do is, oh, he's athletic. Let's get him out the pocket. Let's put him on the move. No, allow him to sit in the pocket, and create what he needs to create. The only person that kind of did something like that, where they did have this run offense, is Deshaun Watson. We love the way Deshaun Watson plays, right? That's why he got that contract. Allow them to pass in the pocket, and then create what they need to create. Just because Lamar Jackson has an exceptional talent with his speed, his quickness, his agility, running the football, doesn't mean you put him as a weapon running the football. You allow his legs to be legs to be the intangible. Meaning, if they put a spy on him, great. That's one less person in coverage. Right? You want to put a spy on Lamar Jackson? Okay, great. They open up things downfield or to the corners because you can't put a spy on. Very rarely do defensive coordinators know how to put a spy on a quarterback and then play zone coverage. So now, man coverage or zone coverage. So now we have, and no spy in the NFL is going to really come 110% stop Lamar Jackson. But if we think about that, right? We think about, well, Seth, if we give Lamar Jackson more receivers, how will he do? Or packages that have 11 personnel, 10 personnel, how will he do? Let's look at Louisville. What did he do at Louisville? Look at some of the packages they ran in Louisville. They were in 10. They were in 11 personnel. And what did he do? He flourished, right? He won the MVP from his sophomore year to his junior year. He was completely dominant. There was no one stopping Lamar Jackson when he had more receivers to throw to because the players are getting downfield more. There's more raw creativity. Lamar Jackson has never had a perfect pocket to throw in anyway, right? He has some decent pockets, but allow him to create in the pocket and have that option of running if he needs to run and pass if he needs to pass. But if he runs the ball more, okay, the linebackers come up and put more people in the box, now he can throw downfield. If they're more worried about him passing the ball downfield, then what do? They put 7, 8 DB. They put 6 DBs in coverage, and then now he can use his legs and they can open up the run. So the problem, and this is the problem. The problem is not Lamar Jackson throwing the ball to receivers. The problem is there's no receivers. There's not many receivers that are actually there in the packages that they run. The Ravens, like I said before, the Ravens before are mostly in 12, 13 personnel. Okay, they're not necessarily in 10 or 11 that often. So Lamar Jackson typically doesn't have receivers to throw to if most of the players in the field are tight ends, and this is Greg Roman's doing. I wish that people would look past that and just say, okay, but here's the thing. People are simple. These are the FanDuel guys. These are the DraftKings guys that are talking football. They don't know football, okay? The purity of football does not get breached by your pro football focus analytics. All right, this is if you watch the game, you can understand why Lamar Jackson doesn't throw to receivers because they're not on the field. And if you think of it, when does Lamar Jackson get a Stephon Diggs to throw to? When does Lamar Jackson get a DeAndre Hopkins to throw to? When does Stephon Diggs get a Amari Cooper to throw to? Right? When does he get a Tyreek Hill to throw to? When does he get a what's it called? What's his name? A Cooper Kupp to throw to? Now the Rams do quite a bit with that, but Lamar Jackson is not getting the best receiver they brought in for Lamar Jackson. At any point, what I hate to say is Rashad Bateman, and he can't stay on the field. So we have to if you know football and you watch football, you know that. The personnel they have in there limits Lamar Jackson, allow him to throw receivers because they run 12, 13 packages most of the time, and there's not enough receivers on the field. So this is a simple. If you watch the game of football, it's simple to watch. Lamar Jackson is only subject to his offensive coordinator. So. Big shout out from Lamar Jackson making it to work, and they say, well, hey, when he has MVP season and they scored 33 points through 12 games, he was doing well. The NFL is a league of trends, and people don't understand. They watch one team and think that they're great, and they're like, oh, they're going to be a dynasty. No, I said this before. The minds of the NFL coaches that coach this league are intelligent. And what may work in one year, it will not work in next year. If you look at the Chiefs, we thought they were great that one year. Then, hey, people figure Patrick Mahomes out. It's a league of trends. Understand that what works in one year, next year, they're going to game plan, spend most of their time figuring out a way, put people in the right places, schemes, systems so that they can stop certain teams from doing this over again. So what worked in one game, and they do this week by week, may not work in the next game. So NFL is a game of trends. It's not college football where you can do the same thing over and over and over again for years and be successful. College football, the playing field is level. It's more competitive, and there's smarter coaches. And I think that's what we have to get past. Is Lamar Jackson is not the problem in this offense. The problem is Greg Roman, and he's limiting Lamar Jackson by using 11. By using 13, 14 personnel instead of putting more receivers on the field. So that's my quick rant on Lamar Jackson today, or on you people out there today. And yeah, hope Lamar continues to flourish, even though he's limited with limited options. So.